Long ago, on the same planet homeworld, planet Vegeta, it was engulfed in a civil war between the natives of that world, the Tuffles, who could possess bodies by mere skin contact and were extremely intelligent and powerful, and the Saiyans, a very warrior-like tribal race. However, during this time, the Saiyans were divided into two factions, one led by the King of all Saiyans, and then the other by the Queen of all Saiyans. The King was named Vegeta, the Queen was named Molina. They had broken into civil war. King Vegeta was among those with more brutal intentions and planned to take the planet and kill the inhabitants so they may have a home and destroy what was left of the natives and start anew and continue ruling the Saiyan race through there. However, Queen Molina decided that that was not the way to do things, and her platoon of Saiyans decided that they will leave the Saiyan army, the Saiyans entirely, and they made their own home on another world, planet Apsilonia, which is inspired by Dragon Ball Absalon. So, yeah, credit to Melavelli. But Queen Molina is the leader of them and one of the most dangerous beings in the entire galaxy. This is how she became the Queen of the Saiyans. Before Queen Molina was Queen Molina, she was simply known as Molina van Superse, and she lived a very nomadic lifestyle, roaming from place to place on a certain planet until the Saiyans would have to migrate, whether it be through draining all the natural resources or simply a war with that planet's race. However, almost every time they would end up destroying the planet, and she, along with other powerful warriors of the Saiyans, was decided on the fact that they need a new home, a new permanent home. They can't keep doing this. They keep getting all sorts of interstellar infectations and diseases and whatnot. The Saiyan race will not survive at this rate, and if they keep going like this, they will eventually attract the attention of other powerful beings, like maybe even Lord Beerus or Kid Buu. However, it isn't until Molina and her squadron of a young King Vegeta, who has not yet become king yet, and an army of 3 others band together to fight against a frost demon by the name of Empress Winter. After they end up being able to leap onto her and take her out, Molina accidentally and unintentionally and unknowingly unlocks Super Saiyan and manages to defeat her. However, King Vegeta is the one that lands the final blow with his own technique and the earliest version of the Final Flash, which gets their respect, as Molina did not want to be seen as a symbol of power, and she didn't even know what happened to her body. However, King Vegeta kept it a secret, as they both figured something did happen, and maybe it was a Super Saiyan of legend, but they weren't sure. Molina especially wasn't sure, but she knew that her power shot up for a second, but she could not control her Super Saiyan transformation. King Vegeta concealed this secret for her out of his own pride. However, she took it as a kind of sweetness, and eventually, as they started leading the Saiyans on a different path and wanted a new home, they wanted to end these wars. Even if that meant more wars to get to the final war, they were going to do it. However, they fell in love, and when she became pregnant with a still dormant pregnant Vegeta, King Vegeta had only hoped for their son to have such great power as he and she does. However, Molina wanted different for her child. However, after the child Vegeta was born, he was more akin to his father's methods and molded by him. So Molina offered to take him with them to Apsilonia. However, The young Prince Vegeta refused this and stayed with his father. Molina departed from her now ex-husband, and they are in a sort of truce in the Civil War, as King Vegeta and his forces are now taking over Planet Plant, and will do so in the coming timeline. However, all of their actions have not gone unnoticed. Since Winter's death, the Frost Clan demons are now aware of them, and they have been keeping a close eye on them for the next 100 years. And so, that will spark the end of Planet Vegeta. However, what will become of the Saiyans that followed Molina were women, and a few men. However, they have decided to use a more pacifist lifestyle. Basically, no fighting, they're not conquering. They carved out a small section of the planet and have started growing crops and hunting some of the local wildlife, but mostly sticking to a vegetarian lifestyle. However, this came with some good things and bad things. The good thing is that they never truly learned of the other creatures upon planet Absalonia, and they are protected from all that. However, they did not have the Saiyan technology that Planet Vegeta did, and around the time that Planet Vegeta was destroyed and Dragon Ball got kickstarted, they were met by a plague that started to kill off the Saiyans one by one and delegate their powers even less, which did not work well. However, Molina remained confident in her people, and they used the herbs and medicines of the world around them to try and heal each other up. However, this was in vain, and most of them ended up dying. Most of the children and most of the men. However, the women weren't really affected, as they kept hard at work trying to keep the community thriving. However, this is also where we see that Empress Winter has friends in other places. The Winter explains that she is in critical condition and will soon die. That is why she sent her son and grandson, King Cold and Frieza, who she has passed down the Armada and Empire to. Remember, this is about 10, 20 years after the attack on her herself, but it left her in critical condition. Before she dies, she enlists the help of the neighboring clan that they have beef with, but figured could be useful. The Fire Giants. One of them in particular, the king of the Fire Giants, Blaze. Their sector is filled with way too many suns for the frost demons to enter it without being harmed due to their molecular structure and their scales and whatnot. So they asked the fire giants, since the planet of Absalonia is closest to their sector, could they go over and wipe out the surviving Saiyans? Since Frieza, her grandson, has just done that mostly. So why not just, end the deal, and all the fire giant and frost demon beef will be gone. Centuries of war gone, wiped away, forgiven, whatever. And so the fire demons and fire giants are just like, let's do that. So the king decides to get up, and he rockets on over to planet Absalonia to finish this and stop this world war that could have took. King Blaze smashes down on the planet, instantly causing massive earthquakes and tremors, and the entire Saiyan race is starting to panic. However, Molina, still the queen of the Saiyans, stands up and takes some of her bravest men and women and dives in searching for the conflict. However, King Blaze isn't that hard to find, since he is literally just living heat energy. He stays in his sector due to the amount of heat generated by this. His body naturally feeds off of it. Cold energy makes the fire giants weaker, so that is why that the frost demons and the fire demons have been at war. They are polar opposites, and their people cannot coexist together, at least not normally. Either way, Blaze instantly starts a fight and incinerates a whole swath of the planet, which the planet isn't much bigger than the moon, and almost all of the other Saiyans can feel it, and they start, protecting their children and whatnot. And the warrior Saiyans and Molina all dive into battle and keep fighting and fighting. However, as Blaze's power overwhelms them and gets more and more capable and powerful, he begins killing off the other weaker Saiyans one by one, slowly and slowly, until Blaze does a move where he pile drives one Saiyan, which the after effect burns all the others alive, and Molina is just barely able to protect the women and children still hiding in the village, which, when Molina does see the slaughtered Saiyans, she loses it and activates Super Saiyan yet again. However, this time, she does not lose control or lose the transformation as fast. She keeps it for a good 5 minutes and races in against Blaze, and they begin duking it out, finally being able to hold a candle to his power. Even with the Super Saiyan glow and his hot heat, as they rocket into space, neither of them can breathe in there, not normally, or at least not for long, especially with them beating the tar out of each other. But this way, she has a fighting chance against him, and even Empress Winter can see them. Remember, King Cold and Frieza are still out roaming the Frost Demon sector, and Molina decides to take out this guy by punching him, and then grabs him and pile drives him straight into the ship that has been watching them, which happens to be Winter's ship. She comes piling through and destroys that entire ship, which, since Winter was already in a critical condition, this just kills her instantly. And Blaze suffers a worse fate as he is dragged into the Frost Demon section, and he begins to freeze, and so does Molina, and his flame begins to die out. Molina unleashes a barrage of punches and kicks and whatnot to weaken him even more, until she finally erupts with her Super Saiyan transformation, incinerating Blaze through her raw energy. However, after that, she passes out as the ice overtakes her and leaves her drifting in deep space. Stayed adrift, floating in space, frozen, unaging, for about 30 to 45 years, which is an extremely long time. However, it is enough time for the events of Dragon Ball Superhero to take place, and which means it's after the Granola arc, after the Broly arc, after the Moro arc, and Tournament of Power. Okay, now that we're caught up, Molina finally crash lands on an alien planet and learns of what happened to the Saiyans. Rumors of the Saiyans' existence has spread all across the galaxy, and so they will know that the Saiyans are alive, and Molina believes that if she can find her son, she can find some of these fabled so-called Dragon Balls and use them to possibly bring back their people if her little prince Vegeta has not already have an empire or bring them back. However, she's still murky on the details, such as most of them are wiped out. However, Vegeta still calls himself the Prince of all Saiyans, even though he does not run an empire. It's a little odd. However, Molina does load up in this world space pod and shoots off to go find her son, Prince Vegeta, and make a warm family reunion for the Saiyan race for her people.